Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Golf and Politics. Rob, this is one of my favorite episodes of the year. It also shows that we've been doing this podcast for a little while because we did this last year, the best of. Last year, we focused a lot on the year of yes, and so therefore it was a long two-part episode. But tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing on Monday Night Football. First place, division-leading Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, it's been a mediocre year, but we're in first place. And it's Monday night. Miami Dolphins coming to a snowy Pittsburgh. The Steelers haven't lost on Monday night since you were in what, the third grade? No, I was in the third grade, I think. Was it 1991, the last time they've lost at home on a Monday night?
1991, I would have been 8 years old.
8 years old.
They're probably second or third grade, something like that.
Yeah, great.
No, I would have been 7. I would have been 7 years old. I was born in 84. 7 years old. But I'll say this. That would have been Chuck Noll's last season as head coach. And I can vaguely remember watching some of the games with my dad, but the Steelers weren't great in the late 80s and early 90s. I don't really remember it. I do remember the Steelers hiring a young 35-year-old head coach in 1992 named Bill Cowher. And since 1992, I have not missed a Steelers game, either in person, on TV, on a laptop, iPad, iPhone.
When we were in Ireland, we had to VPN to the United States.
Yeah.
To get the Steelers on our bus, if you remember.
In the Sprinter van with Jer, and I can remember the reception being a little sketch.
Well, I remember very clearly, so I'm a couple years older than you, and I remember very clearly my great-grandfather, who lived right next door, the biggest diehard Steeler fan you're ever going to meet, worked in Weirton Steel his whole career. I mean, Chuck Noll is a legend, 4 Super Bowls. And I can tell you, in the late 80s, early 90s, there was the same tenor in Pittsburgh about getting rid of Chuck Noll and moving on as there is right now for Mike Tomlin.
And that was the same with Bill Cowher in 2002, 2003. Once we drafted Ben Roethlisberger, he goes 15-1, and then the next year wins the Super Bowl. All was forgotten.
That's right.
And when you look at where the Steelers are right now, like you said, we're in first place. I mean, it's 7-6. It's been ugly. But, you know, sometimes you scrap it around and you shoot an ugly 72. But you shot 72. You know, the most important thing for us right now is we got a one-game cushion over the Ravens. They've got a tough closing 3 games. I think if we can beat the Dolphins tonight, God willing, then we're in control of our own destiny.
That's right.
We'll see what happens.
Well, I also remember we had quarterbacks like Mark Malone and Bubby Brister back then. So I do think our chances with Aaron Rodgers a little bit better, especially if he plays like he did last week.
Mike Tomczak, Kent Graham.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some doozies there. I mean, I remember Tommy Maddox being a breath of fresh air.
Oh, Tommy Maddox was a bowler. I mean, I remember the game with the
Browns.
The Browns, I think, second year back in the league. And funny story, I was watching that game in Weirton, West Virginia with at my grandfather's house with my then girlfriend. Maybe she was my fiance. No, she'd have just been my girlfriend at the time. And, you know, that game was wild. I mean, it was muddy. I think that Maddox and Kelly Holcomb both threw for well over 400 yards. Not your typical Browns-Steelers game. And the Browns had that game. Dennis Northcutt gets a pass right here, drops it, which would have been a first down and probably sealed the game for the Browns. Instead, they have to punt. Steelers go down, win the game. End of regulation. My father-in-law, my late father-in-law, was the biggest Browns fan that you've ever met. And we went back to St. Clairsville that night. I went down in the basement, and he's sitting there, maybe drowning his sorrows a little bit with some Manweisers. And I said, just like 1986 when Ernest Biner fumbled at the goal line. And he exploded, slammed his fist down and said, "You were in effing kindergarten when that happened. You don't even remember." Stormed upstairs and went to bed. And that was the end of the night for us. Him and I had a tense relationship when it came to the Browns and the Steelers.
I'll tell one quick Steelers story. My dad's laboratory at Weirton Medical Center, his colleague had season tickets. They split them. So we basically went to 4 games a year. And in the new Heinz Field in 01, 02, I was in high school. I remember they were $44 a ticket. And, Granted they weren't great seats, but I loved them. They were in the north end zone in the bleachers, about halfway up, great view. And I always have loved end zone seats, even more than 50-yard line to this day. I mean, I'll buy the 50-yard line seats if I'm going with somebody that you want to impress them.
Mhm.
But I prefer the end zone because you can see the play develop on both sides of the ball. You can really see the field and see what the quarterback's seeing, see what the defense is seeing, what they're calling. But great story. This was actually before that. We would always park at Station Square and take the Gateway Clipper over the boat. And I can remember being on the top of it. This time I was really young. I was probably 9 or 10 years old. And we're on the top of the Gateway Clipper coming under the Fort Pitt Bridge. And there's this woman on the lower level screaming down to the boat, "Hey guys, who wants 2 tickets to Pittsburgh?" And she lifts up her shirt. She's got these big tits. And I can remember all the guys just going nuts. And I look over and I see my father just going nuts, cheering. And I'm too little to know really get it, but I can remember thinking, "That's not mom. What are you doing?" And they're all cheering away. And that to me is a Pittsburgh Steelers experience.
Yeah. Well, should be a good game tonight, but we're not here to talk about the Steelers. We're here to talk about our year in review, 2025, the game of golf. I still hope to play a few more times. I'm also in a little bit of as much as I love going to see my family, and I love going back to the Ohio Valley, which we're leaving on Friday night for. I'm looking at the weather in Tulsa next week during Christmas. It's going to be 70 degrees on Christmas Day, and I'm going to be up in the valley not golfing. But I do have a few more rounds of golf left here in Oklahoma, but I know you're nursing a wrist injury and your year's over, so it's a good time for us to review the year, talk about some of our goals for next year, and make some political predictions as well for next year. So, Sean Boo, let's turn it over to you. You can interview us, and we can go through some of our best experiences from 2025.
All right, sounds good. What are the top 10 golf courses you played in 2025?
Let me go ahead and take this first. Man, this was a hard list to put together. Actually, Rob, I give you a lot of credit, man. I mean, as you and I become friends, you've exposed me to a whole nother world of chasing great golf courses, and not just chasing, that's probably the wrong word, but appreciating really great golf courses and understanding golf course architecture and putting a premium on going to play some cool places. And in turn, it's some of my friends, it's inspired them to go play, and we've taken some cool trips, and you and I have taken some cool trips. And so I start thinking about the names of the golf courses that aren't on my list of top 10 for 2025, and that blows me away. I mean, names like Paynes Valley, Ozarks National, Oak Tree National, Sweetens Cove, Hidden Creek, Gray Bull, Stream Song, all the courses at Stream Song. Many of the Bandon courses didn't make my top 10 list. Even Fox Chapel this year, I left off, and I'll explain that one later. But Country Club in Salt Lake City, beautiful golf course. So, I mean, so many great places that I didn't put in my top 10. To me, that really speaks to the kind of year that we had and how blessed we are to get to go around and play this game. And so let me start with number 10. I put Pittsburgh Field Club as my number 10 instead of Fox Chapel. I think they're both amazing, and it's really hard, but I played Pittsburgh Field Club for the first time this year, so it was 10. Number 9, I put Golf Club of Oklahoma and Broken Arrow. Love that place. Number 8 was Bandon Dunes. And the truth is, I could have put all the courses at Bandon, including Sheep Ranch. I love them all, and I thought that was cool. And we'll talk more about Bandon later, but I had to just pick one for my top 10. The original Bandon Dunes is great. Old Barnwell at number 7. Robert Trent Jones at number 6. And the more I play Robert Trent Jones, the more I appreciate it and the more I love it. The Park in West Palm Beach at number 5. Pete Dye Golf Club in Bridgeport, West Virginia, number 4. Sleepy Hollow Country Club in New York, number 3. Pikewood National Golf Club in Morgantown. And then finally, Southern Hills, my number 1.
That's an awesome list. And 2 of them in particular that blow me away, surprisingly. I mean, the Park in Florida, I didn't put it on my list this year, but I think it's the best course in Florida. I think it's really, really good.
It's a special place with a special vibe.
And I was recently watching the every hole at Sleepy Hollow the other day, Golf Digest.
Yeah, that's so good.
Hold it out. I think that might be the best collection of par threes in the United States. Number 10, Ardfin Estate, Scotland. There's a heavy international draw to a lot of my courses this year, mostly because I played a lot fewer courses this year, but I did like bigger trips. So Ardfin Estate in Scotland, just epic. I mean, absolutely epic. It's owned by They're a billionaire or a near billionaire from Australia, and just the scenery, the food, he flies in a Michelin star chef. The routing is absolutely unique. I mean, I feel like it's a 9-mile nature hike with golf clubs in your hand. And that just was really special. The number 9, Shenkin Bay in China, totally unique experience as my first time playing in China, unless you count Hong Kong as part of China. But my first time playing in China, Core Crenshaw design, and really more so than Ardfin, it's rare to play a mountain golf course or one with such rugged terrain on a coast the way this one is. That's also firm and fast like a links course and interesting. And it had, drivable par fours with, a lot of strategy, stunning, breathtaking par threes of all different lengths and difficulties. And it was just fun. And I think that more than anything else, it was just a blast and a unique experience. Stunningly beautiful. Number 8, Royal St. George's in England. As we were talking to Simon Holt on our program last week, one of the things that I think is really important with a golf course is, the variety, and that it's something that's unique. And when we're comparing golf courses, when you're making a top 10, at least, it's tough to compare a Ballybunion to a Pine Valley that are totally different. So on links courses, Royal St. George's has jumped near the top of my list in the world. It's got like an element of Pine Valley and Oakmont to it as far as the routing. It's not just straight out and straight back typical links course where every hole one way is into the wind and every hole the way back is the wind's with. It has like 4 distinct circles in the routing where you get the wind from all directions.
Very cool.
On each 9 holes, and you play through dunes, around them, over them. Truly, truly special. And they serve at the halfway house this drink or soup, hot drink called Bovril. And I don't know if you've heard of Bovril, but during World War II, when England was, a lot of people, they were broke. Mm-hmm. They couldn't afford meat for their families. So they would serve them Bovril, which is, kind of like a beef broth.
Okay.
And they serve it to you hot in like a little mug in their halfway house, which is basically just a trailer along the coast.
All right.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
But it was something really cool and unique. Number 7, Sunningdale Old. And now we're to a point in my list where any one of these could be number 1, but we're just for the sake of things, we're going to go with Sunningdale Old. Heathland course, Harry Colt. It was essentially the inspiration for Pine Valley. It is the best 36-hole facility on the planet. The old course has all the charm and unique character and all the Heathland features on the bunkering and the terrain, and it's just charming as hell. And then the new course, which is probably still 100+ years old, has more length, more teeth. I couldn't tell you which one I like more any given day of the week, depending upon which one I played. Great hang, awesome experience. And then top 5 are all in the United States. Sandhill.
Just real quick on Sunningdale, I want to plug episode 55. I believe it's 55 and 56. If you go back, when we interviewed Mike Blackham, who's a member at Sunningdale, we have a lot of discussion about it. Clearly a bucket list place for me to go to.
Yeah. If someone were to say Sunningdale Old was their favorite course on the planet, I would be like, okay, that's fine by me. Number 6, Marion, in outside of Philadelphia. I played it with Jake Marvin before MG Cup, couple weeks before MG Cup. I hadn't played it since 2016 before Hillary's DNC convention in Philly, and playing it almost 10 years later, 9 years later, I appreciated it so much more because I've seen so much over the last decade, and I can appreciate just how good it is. It's the best routed course on a tiny property in the planet. It's under 100 acres, and all 18 holes are as good as the next. Interesting, fun. You never feel cramped or like you're on top of somebody on a different hole. And it's broken up in 3 sixes. And they compare it to, a play. What are the 3 sections of a play? There's drama, comedy, and tragedy. And The first 6 holes are comedy, the next 6 holes are drama, and the final 6 holes are tragedy. It's just spectacular. Gil Hans's restoration there was superb. Number 4, and honestly, it's my favorite. I think it's the best overall 18-hole challenge in the United States, Oakmont in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's probably one of the few golf courses on the planet, maybe the golf course on the planet, where I'm nervous just pulling in. And from the time, and I honestly feel more comfortable there than most. I really like the course. It sets up to my eye. But literally from the time you step on that first tee box to when you tap in your last putt, you're just clenched the whole time. Because you can, hit a 5-foot downhill putt that touches the lip and ends up going off the green down a hill. And then all of a sudden you have a full pitching wedge in. It's just such a challenge. Number 17 is the best short par 4 on planet Earth. I think that showed in the US Open one day. Just spectacular golf course. Number 3, the most fun golf course in the United States, National Golf Links of America in the Hamptons. I think it'll be featured in some of my answers to questions throughout the show, but an absolute blast. Like the most fun tee shots, the most fun second shots around the greens. If Oakmont has the best greens in the country, National Golf Links might be the most fun. Number 2, Shinnecock Hills. They're right next door. And I compare a 10-round split between Shinnecock and National Golf Links the same way I would compare a 10-round split to Oakmont and Fox Chapel. What kind of day do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to go have fun and enjoy yourself, then you'd play Fox Chapel and National Golf Links. You want to go get kicked in the teeth?
Go to the US Open venues
and figure out where every weakness in your game exists at that point, then you go to Shinnecock and Oakmont. And I'd be hard pressed not to do 5-5 splits for each of them, pull it out of a hat. Number 1, Pine Valley. Look, I was walking off Marion, when we played Marion and Pine Valley, Jake and I played, and he said he liked Marion better. And I don't know that I could argue that, but when I went through it personally, each hole, Pine Valley has 0 weaknesses. All 18 of them are terrific. It's just hard to do a hole by hole between Pine Valley and any other course on the planet and Pine Valley to lose. So the next question is, are the sum of the parts more important than the total wrap? And if that's the case, I could see somebody saying, I like Marion better than Pine Valley, Shinnecock better, but there's nowhere else that has 18 holes like that. So I get Pine Valley the nod.
Well, out of your 10, I've only played one, which was the best one. So it means
you started out at number 1. So that's
started out at number 1. Yeah,
I think the most
but all bucket lists, and I've spent a lot of time at Oakmont watching golf. I've never played it, but those are all bucket list courses for me.
Yeah, you got to do Oakmont, especially with our Pittsburgh connection. So we got to do that.
Yeah, I was going to try to play it this fall. It didn't work out, but I'm sure we'll get out there next year at some point. All right, Sean B, what's next?
What are your top 3 first-time golf courses for you in 2025?
Good. Matt, why don't you go? I've got a...
You go? All right. All right, I'll start with number 3 for first-time courses. Again, this list's hard to pick 3, but Pete Dye in Bridgeport. And part of that is probably because I have a bias being from West Virginia, and I had a great time. I went there with Casey Lang and Dexter Hughes, friend of the program, another guy named Bart Scott. We had just a blast, and we played 36 holes at Pete Dye in the rain. It didn't matter. That course is just super fun. Pete Dye has a tendency, some of Pete Dye's courses I find to be just beat the living crap out of you for 18 holes. I don't think that Pete Dye does that. There are places that you don't want to miss for sure, but I think it's a very fair golf course. It's a fun golf course. It's beautiful. Since I love West Virginia so much, you literally drive through a coal mine between holes on the front nine. So it's a fantastic spot. The vibe there is fantastic.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick because I just want to say a few things about Pete Dye Golf.
Yeah,
I think it is great because it checks all the things I look for. For starters, it's a rare place that has 4 really strong par fives in different directions that are all unique and different. It's tough to do that, especially on the landscape that he was given, which is a
Right.
tough place to build.
Old abandoned coal mines, right?
Yeah. Next quick point, all 4 par threes, different lengths, different shot types, different difficulty levels, A+. Then on the par fours, so 10 par fours, 5 on each side. On both sides, each side has 2 long, stout, challenging par fours each. It has 2 short, diabolical par fours each, and then 1 sort of intermediate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a top 100 course for me. I think
Yes.
it's terrific. So I just wanted to get that in.
As many great golf courses as Pete Dye's designed, there's only one with his name on it, right? I mean, so
It's like, guys,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's the home course of the West Virginia Mountaineers. So,
You got to get that in.
and go there, Mountaineers. All right. Number 2, Sleepy Hollow. That, and honestly, like, I can make a case that Sleepy Hollow is the top outside of Pine Valley is the top course I've ever played. Like, I mean, during the moment of playing it, I'm like, this place is unreal. The finishing holes are out of this world good. I'm a little sad we played it as a, this is going to sound weird coming from me as somebody that supported Liv and I enjoy watching Liv. I don't enjoy playing a golf course as a shotgun start. Like, I can't remember now what our last hole, like, when you do a shotgun start, you kind of lose track of how it is. And that golf course is meant to finish the way that it finishes. Like, 15 is a fairly easy punch bowl green par 5 that you got to make hay there. You got to make a birdie on that hole. And then 16, we're going to talk about this later, is probably the best par 3 that I played all year. And then 17 is just this fantastic hole where it looks like it's wide open, but I mean, you better be accurate with the driver. I mean, you have to aim down at that tree on the left and hit the left side of the fairway because everything bounces. But if you pull it a little too much or you don't fade it back and it stays over there, you can have a little awkward tree trouble for your second shot, and the green's not easy. And then, hell, I still don't understand 18. That's a hard golf hole. I mean, I'd like to play that a couple more times and figure out, am I supposed to just bomb driver as far as I can and hope for the best and then punch it up by the green? Do I hit a hybrid and then a long iron into this green? I mean, that's a tough golf hole, but the view going into the Vanderbilt Mansion is so good. The club is just, I mean, we talk about old money place. That's an old money place. And
It was featured in the TV show Friends and Neighbors this year.
Really?
With the guy from Mad Men. I'm blanking on his name.
John Hamm?
Yeah, John Hamm, where he goes on hard times and he starts stealing from all his rich asshole neighbors. And he plays his golf at Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic place. Last, I got to stick with the West Virginia connection, and Pikewood is just an unbelievable piece of property. Excellent day, great golf experience. There was only, I think, 12 people total at the club that day in the middle of May on a Tuesday. I mean, you want to talk about a difficult golf course, but just absolutely beautiful and perfectly manicured, perfect conditions. I love the idea that it's an amateur architect, especially when you know the story behind how it got built. John Racy never intended to put a golf course there. That wasn't why he bought the property. He bought it to be a limestone mining operation. And so when something like that works out and you can be really proud of being from West Virginia and being on that property and how beautiful the state that I grew up in is, that was my number 1 first-time course. And if I look at some of the honorable mentions for first-time course, I mean, playing the Park for the first time was great. And all of the Bandon courses, which we'll talk more about later, are interesting and unique. In Pittsburgh Field Club, it was the first time I played there. And that's the only reason I put it ahead of Fox Chapel, Rob. I like them both. And I also found it interesting from our friend Lenny. I didn't realize that Fox Chapel was the Protestant club and Pittsburgh Field Club was the Catholic club, which is how things used to happen in places like Pittsburgh. And so just cool vibe at both places. I mean, 2 amazing clubs right across the street from each other.
Well, and the Jewish clubs across the river in true it's just, and then there's Polish Hill,
Yeah.
That's Pittsburgh for you.
Yeah. All right. Your top 3 first-time courses.
All right. I cheated a little. I have top 3 US and top 3 international. So I'm not going to do any repeats.
This is Rob flexing for us all right here.
Yeah. Top 3 US, Caprock Ranch. It's a Gil Hands original in the Nebraska Sandhills. built on the Snake River Canyon. I don't want to say half of the holes are right on the canyon, but at least a third of the holes are right on the canyon. And just a straight down drop to the Snake River. Cool setting, really fun greens, lots of variety, just terrific golf course. Number 2, Kingsley Club in Michigan. Shocked me. I knew it was going to be good. I thought it was going to be okay. Blew me away. Really fun, great routing, some fun blind shots, but just a really cool piece of land, and they used it exceptionally well. Great routing. Number 3, the opposite of Kingsley Club, MacArthur Backyard in Florida. It is a Core Crenshaw original. They created 100% of it on swampland. And when Bill Core and Ben Crenshaw spoke to the membership, one of them asked, what they thought when they saw the site. And usually when architects speak to the members that just paid them an ungodly amount of money to build a golf course or renovate a golf course, they say nothing but nice things. Bill Core said this was the worst site that Ben and I, and they said, why'd you take the job? And he said, easy, blank check. And so they built this golf course that looks like it's been there forever, looks like the most natural terrain. It's fun, it's interesting, it's everything you love about a good golf course in the worst possible land ever in Florida. And it's just a cool club on top of that. And they have some of the best rules I've ever seen at a golf. And I usually don't like rules. You know that. I don't like feeling constrained and confined by the hobgoblins of, inferior men. But one of their club rules is that at the end of each season, the staff gets to vote one member that gets removed.
Wow.
And I don't know if they do that every year, but what a great way to remind the membership to treat the staff with dignity and respect.
Yeah.
And if you're an asshole, you can get kicked out. And I don't want to quote what it costs to join there. It's, it's obnoxious. They have a small membership. The owners are from Chicago. There's at Augusta and Sunningdale and everywhere. And they bought MacArthur and they've turned it into a 36-hole masterpiece. Near impossible to get on. The members are limited to how many guests they can bring per season. And it's obviously a short season in Florida. And then they have 2 courses, and one course is for members only, and the other course is for members that are bringing guests. There's no unaccompanied play, and then it flips the next day. And so if you're a member and you only want to play with members and you want to play in no time at all without a million guests, you play the member course that day.
Okay.
And vice versa. But I just thought it was pretty cool and unique, and I'm going to leapfrog it over some big names. I really liked it.
That's great.
And the honorable mentions for US would be Pinehurst number 10, Tom Doak.
So fun, isn't it?
So fun. I cupped an 8-iron for Eagle, number 10 or something, 10 or 11, I don't know. And I thought that was a really cool course. And Rancho Santa Fe Golf Club, just north of San Diego. Played that with Ryan Stanton, Chris Redmond, good friend Henry Scott's father, who's in his 80s, and was just the best host ever. Was just a blast and had great stories.
And that's Mickelson's home course, correct?
Yeah, he was playing that day, a couple groups behind us with DJ.
Fantastic.
And they saw a much different golf course than I did, because they were probably hitting a lot of wedges in, but really cool place. And then quickly on the international, 2 in England, St. Enodoc. I woke up early in the morning, Mike Blackham, and England became my favorite country. He had a tournament at Sunningdale. We had played Sunningdale Old and New the day before. I woke up early and drove 4.5 hours through farm country in southwest England to get to the coast to play St. Enodoc. And then after the 18 holes, had a drink with the 2 guys I played with, whom I didn't know, but had a blast. And they were very interested in American politics. And we're bullshitting. I lose track of time. And I drove 4.5 hours back at night through these hedges. And it was a 2-lane road that isn't wider than your kitchen.
Okay.
And so it was just a long ride back, but it was worth it. Spectacular golf course. Then St. George's Hill, which is in the London Heathland area, similar to Sunningdale, blew me away. and then Tokyo Golf Club. And not just because I like a good team bath at the end of the round. Love the course. Every hole had 2 different greens and 2 totally different sets of tee boxes. So the course plays totally different each day. And you do a long launch after 9 holes with your group. And then afterwards you do the hot bath. And then just really cool. Great host and totally different experience. Really liked it. So those are my first timers. Honorable mentions, Machrihanish in Scotland. Best opening tee shot in golf. You literally hit over the ocean and the fairway runs perpendicular. And so you're hitting over the ocean, over the beach. Best front 9, arguably, in links golf, maybe comparable to Royal County Downs. So that's my list for first time.
Nice. All right, Sean, next question.
All right. Of all the courses played in 2025, what is the best par 3, par 4, and par 5?
Okay, I'll start. Best par 3. This was a tough pick because I want to be a homer and pick number 11 at RTJ, but I'm not going to pick my home club. I'm going to pick number 11 at Shinnecock. And it is, depending upon where you're playing it from that day, it might be 125, 130 iron. And it's straight uphill with drop-offs like a volcano, long and to the right. Left is dead. You can't hold your pitch shot on the green. Even with the hands of an angel, you can't. And at 125 yards, its nickname is the shortest par 5 in America because you can walk out of there with a 5 after hitting a pitching wedge. It's just a cool hole. And I have a bias for devilish short par 3s. And I think it's one of the best in the world. So I'm going to go with number 11 at Shinnecock.
I'm going to go to Sleepy Hollow, and I'm not going to say number 7, where I came 3 inches from a hole-in-one on number 7, the Redan hole, which is a great hole. One really nice, closest to the pin, Sleepy Hollow shoe bag, which, by the way, might be the best logo in golf. The Sleepy Hollow logo is pretty elite.
Yeah.
But Sleepy Hollow number 16 is just an awesome hole. If nothing else, the view of the Hudson River that you get there in the entire property is just fantastic. And played a lot of good par 3s. But you're right, Rob. It might, Sleepy Hollow may have the best overall collection of par 3s in America. It's elite.
Well, your favorite was 16, which is the one that's photographed the most on Instagram, largely from the Links Gems guy. I love that hole. I love the little thumbprint in the green toward the front.
Yeah.
Which can lead to some awesome pin placements. I think the first 3 par 3s there are even better. So good. Number 3, and then there's a downhill Dan reverse.
That's 7's the downhill Redan where I came 3 inches from hole-in-one.
So good. And then the par 3 sort of at the very back edge of the property that has that cool wooden bridge.
Yeah, that bridge is awesome.
So good. Great selection there. All right, best par 4. Look, I think is far and away the best par 4 on planet Earth. Number 13 at Pine Valley. It's a long sweeping dogleg left. You can't see the green from the tee, but when you crest the hill, you see it with a green that sort of runs away from front right to back left. You know, huge cavernous pit bunkers, short left, and it requires you to hit a good drive and a great second shot. Really good. The honorable mentions, just because I couldn't not include them. Number 3 at National Golf Links, the Alps hole. I mean, as fun of a par 4 that exists anywhere. You can't even see the pin or the green on your second shot because of the huge Alps that you have to hit over. So you can hit like a 3-wood off the tee, and you try to get over as far to the right as you can without getting into trouble to maybe catch a glimpse of where you're hitting to next. And then you just have this really fun short iron shot over this this big hill to the green, and just the undulations on it are really cool. And then number 7 at Sunningdale Old. The tee box just off to the right of you at the tee box is Harry Styles' house. Who was on One Direction, the singer, and is a member and golf fanatic at Sunningdale. And your tee shot, you can't even see the fairway. It's just this straight up steep hill. And, you know, when you're hitting your driver, catch it well, or you're going to hit it right into the damn hill off the tee box. So you get over that, and then it drops down, and it's just a beautiful vista. And then the green site is just perfect where they have it. So that qualifies as an honorable mention for best par 4.
My best par 4 is number 18 at Southern Hills. I think it's the best number 18 finishing hole in all of major championship golf. If you think of every major championship, 18th hole, I think it's the best. It is, par is a really good number even for the pros. And we saw that in 2022. There was crazy drama in the PGA Championship where Mito Pereira, how would his life be different if he made par on 18? He would have won the PGA Championship. If he made bogey, he would have gone to a playoff in the PGA Championship. But instead, he made a double bogey to finish. And it's not that hard to do. You've got to place a tee shot. If you get too conservative, you're going to have 3-iron or 4-iron into this hole. If you get too aggressive, you bring the water into play that runs through there. I've also hit I've hit conservatively down the left side. Now from the tips, it plays over 500 yards. It can play over 500 yards. 491 is the official number back at the one tee box, but they even have another tee box back further that's over 500. And so you can hit a driver and you want to keep it to the left. And so even when I hit a really good, it usually plays into the wind pretty significantly too. I hit a good drive. I still have 4-iron into this, 210 uphill. And I can't tell you how many times I've hit what I think is the best 4-iron I've ever hit in my life. And it gets up on that green, and then I just sit there and pray. And as I start to walk towards my ball, I see it coming all the way back towards me. 60 yards from the hole. Putting on that hole is not easy. There's just nothing easy about it. But it's very fair and it's wide open. It's there. Perry Maxwell showed you how to play the hole and just told you, hey, this is going to be a tough one to finish. And I just think it's a great hole. And there's other great par fours at Southern, but
I think so.
That to me is just outstanding.
I think Southern Hills is in the running for toughest golf course in the country. I think it's right up there with Oakmont.
It can be, especially when the greens are firm and running 13. It can get dicey. You talk about you're just puckering all day long at Oakmont. I mean, there are plenty of days, especially when it's windy and firm, where you're puckering all day at Southern Hills.
I think the approach shots into Southern Hills are tougher than Oakmont. I think the greens at Oakmont are tougher to putt on, but the iron shots into Southern Hills are probably the toughest in the country. Right up there with Bethpage Black when it's not set up like it was for the Ryder Cup.
That's right.
And I think Southern Hills gives you a little bit of leeway off the tee, but not a ton. You still have to hit good drives, but that's a tough golf course. Best par 5. I'm going to go with number 4 at Marion. Off the tee, really your sight line matters. There's some precision to the tee shot, and there's a big, beautiful bunker on the left-hand side of the fairway. So you want to try to stay a little bit right of that. There's more room when you get out there than it looks like from the tee. But I love when a golf course demands some precision with the driver, because a lot of people have trouble hitting the driver straight. I think there should be, I'm not saying I want to play tree line golf holes with 20-yard wide fairways and deep rough. I think that's overkill, but I think there should be a reward for precision, and that hole requires it. And then on your second shot, I like a good reveal. So you can't really see the green unless you get way up there. And then when you get over you crest the hill, it's just a beautiful setting, a good, nice vista of the rest of the golf course on that side of the road, because Marion's split basically in half by a road, and it's got a creek in front of the green. So you really need to think about your second shot, because if you try to go for it, there's a creek short and right. So you pretty much need to fly it there, which was not an option for me. So then if you're going to lay up, you don't want to run into the creek, but you don't want to lay up too far back because it's a very steep downhill, and it's kind of a tricky wedge shot off a downhill lie to get close for birdie. So you kind of want to chase it down there as much as you can without getting into the creek. And then it's a very undulating, challenging green, which I think par 5 should, because today, people are hitting a lot of par 5s in 2 or having short wedges in, the balls spin. I think that you need to have I like smaller undulating greens for par 5s.
Yeah.
So I think that's special. An honorable mention would be number 16 at Sandhills. Might be a better par 5. You kind of want to cut the corner. If you don't cut it, you're like 30 feet down in this like cavernous bunker. If you do catch the speed slot, you get like an extra 50 or 60 yards of roll, and it just sort of meanders from right to left. Great par 5.
I'm going to go with number 8 at Pikewood. I think this is a very unique par 5. Some people don't even believe it's the best par 5 at Pikewood, but I think it's amazing. Depending on how far back you're playing, like you really have to think through. Like let's set the stage here. It's almost like a U or a reverse C that you're playing into.
It's called a cape hole.
Cape hole, yeah, and you get this huge ravine on the right that brings the fear of God into anybody that hits fade, right? I mean, you want to stay away from hitting it into the ravine, and so you got to be careful how conservative you want to be, because if you get too conservative, you're going to put it on the trees on the left. If you get too aggressive and try to cut too much of the ravine off, you're going to be re-teeing. And then the same on the second shot. Like if the wind's in your face, the day we played, the wind was in our face, it's a small green that's hard to hit as well. You could have, I mean, depending on the tee box, I think the tee box we were playing, if I would have hit a good drive, I probably could have hit a 6-iron or 5-iron into the hole. But even then, like you might want to be careful if that wind's whipping and there's trouble all around the green. So you might want to be laying up to hit a wedge in and be more safe. So lots of options, lots of different ways to play the hole. I like holes with options. I think that's cool. My honorable mention is actually 14 at RTJ. I think that's a really great hole. I love the blind tee shot. I don't always love blind tee shots, but I like it on that hole. I mean, there's just this trust you have to hit it in a certain place. If you pull it left in the rough, you're not getting home in 2 out of that rough. You're not going to test that water. If you get too conservative, if you are going for it in 2 or sometimes even in 3 with a longer shot, if you hit a bad drive, that green is tricky, and you can hit something that you think is going to end up close to the hole. And if you don't catch the right ridge, you can roll all the way back down. That bunker left is like a bailout spot for me. That is, if the pin's down on that level, you're probably not getting up and down out of that bunker, even if you had a perfect bunker shot. So I think it's a good hole. Requires you to really, anytime you have to really think about whether or not I should go for this in 2, risk reward in par 5s is good. Just like short par 4s are good if there's a real risk reward. If I have to, like for instance, if I have to give one criticism, Pittsburgh Field Club, forgive me if I get the hole wrong, but I think it's like 13 or 14 is the short par 4 on the back 9. 12, 13, 14. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. There's a short par 4, but it's like there's no reason not to go for this par 4. There's not really a risk. Like if I hit it short, so what? I hit a wedge in 13. Yeah. I like the hole because I almost drove the green, but at the end of the day, there really wasn't a thought process. I wasn't thinking like I should hit an iron here off the tee. What's my, what should my strategy be? It was just like driver all day long.
I think you were heavily influenced by the elevator at Pittsburgh Field Club. I think that was what.
I like the elevator. I think that's a cool finish. I don't necessarily love 18. I thought it was one of my least favorite holes on the course, but I don't always love ending in par 3s, although the Greenbrier ends with a par 3 that I love. I don't know. It's just different. And I don't know that I loved it, but I just had a great day there. I thought it was really well conditioned and a fun golf course. But what I'm getting at is when you have a par 5 that you have to think through the strategy of where to hit your tee shot, whether or not you can go for it in 2, it's a good hole.
On your blind shot comment, Arnold Palmer said that if you have a good memory, it's only blind once.
That's very good.
Gotta trust it.
Yeah. All right. What's next, Shambu?
How many different people did you golf with in 2025?
I didn't keep track this year, but I figured I played 100 rounds. A lot of those were with the same people, but I would still say just conservatively 150 to 200.
I did count. I kept track of it. And I played golf with 177 unique people. That's pretty cool. Over a course of a year that you can make those connections on a golf course and meet some interesting folks. So that was great.
Yeah, I spent more time this year. The year of yes, I played with 1 million people and I was checking boxes. This year, I played more rounds with good friends and I preferred it. But I do enjoy meeting new people because that's how you expand that good friend core group.
All right,
awesome. In 2025, we debuted the first ever Golf and Politics Cup at Grable in Maxwell, Nebraska. What was your favorite memory of the Golf and Politics Cup, and what changes can we expect in 2026?
I think the team, it was just a blast hanging out in the cottage. Jake and I owned the beer pong table, seeing Billy and Jamie dancing and having a good time. Then, out on the course, just the scene of Patrick Boylan with his shirt untucked, his hat turned backwards, winning a match and just, getting into it football style and celebrating and all pumped up en route to 3 points was spectacular. I hear there was a fire alarm that went off. I mean, that's pretty random. That's a good memory. And then I want to say, no, I'm going to focus it all on the team time of just really enjoying each other and the cottage and, rallying around and rooting for each other to win points and do well. So yeah, those would be my favorite memories.
It was a great time, and I encourage people to go back and if you haven't listened to our episodes about the Golf and Politics Cup, go back and watch and listen. There's some good content there, and we had a great time. And I mean, honestly, like, I consider it, we did a whole episode on it for a reason, so I'm not going to recap it all. But my favorite thing was just the competition against Rob. We both really wanted to win. I mean, it was serious. We were grinding more than we grind in a normal round of golf, and it felt like real competition. Sometimes member guests get more of a party vibe, and so you don't have as much of that, competitiveness really out. Like, you want to win, but there's drinking and everyone's going. Like, when Rob and I went out to play that singles match, like, we were all in on trying to win that match. It was fun. It was fun to compete at that level, and so that was my favorite memory. And in looking into 2026. It's going to be better than it was in 2025. I can promise you that, because Rob and I always looking to improve in everything that we do in life. And so it was a great event in 2025. It'll be a greater event in 2026. We're trying to work out the dates. We got a lot of people that work in politics, which makes things a little tricky, but I'm sure we will hopefully nail down a date within the month and start inviting our team. And one thing that we're looking to do this year is expand. Instead of just having 8 on each team, have 12 on each team. That way it gives us a little more flexibility in scheduling matches and so on and so forth. And there was too many people that felt really butthurt for being left out, and it was hard to pick just 7 guys to invite. So
yeah.
What was the best golf trip you took in 2025?
I'm going to go with England. The Asia trip was unique and I really enjoyed it, but 3 countries in 4 days was a bit aggressive. So
even for you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with England because I just think it has the most depth and diversity of courses, between the Heathland and the Coastal Links courses. I just really loved it, and I enjoyed the people and just driving around in a rental car and, playing these different courses and just how nice and welcoming everybody was. I really, really enjoyed that trip.
So I had a lot of good ones, and I'm going to go with Bandon Dunes, though. Shout out to Jefferson Thomas. It was just 4 of us. Jefferson treated us as a corporate outing for him, for his company. And it was PJ Wenzel and Alex Wenzel and Jefferson Thomas in 4 single-digit handicappers playing a lot of golf every day. And that's all we did. I mean, it was just one of those, you don't go to Bandon Dunes to relax. You go to Bandon Dunes to play golf. And all the golf courses there, I can see why they're all in the top 100 in the world. I guess Sheep Ranch is not, and Old McDonald is not, but they're both really unique, great golf courses in their own right. I could list any of those golf courses in my top 10 that I played this year. I just picked Bandon Dunes because it was probably my favorite, but I mean, it's hard to beat any of them. Wasn't necessarily a huge fan of the slower Poana greens, but that's just a West Coast thing that on the coast that you got to get used to. But I just enjoyed the guys I was with. I enjoyed the fact it's like Disney World for serious golfers. Kind of like Pinehurst, kind of like Stream Song. Yeah, I was glad to do Bandon and check. It was a really great bucket list trip to check off. To do.
You know who hates Bandon Dunes?
Who?
Donald Trump.
Does he really?
Yeah, I just said, he said it's ugly and looks like a big pasture, and he just tore it to shreds. There's no water fountains.
That's yeah, But I would tell you this, as if I'm going to criticize one of my biggest letdowns of the year, this is not a question, but I'll go ahead and tell it. Trump Westchester was a huge letdown, especially after playing Sleepy Hollow the day before. One, I thought the course was incredibly unfair and difficult. Like, I don't mind difficult golf. This course was unfair in certain ways. I will say it was probably the best conditioned golf course I played all year. Unbelievable conditions. But it just wasn't like, there was a lot of flash, but not a lot of great golf in my opinion.
I want you to remember that feeling, and we're going to save this conversation for Friday's episode.
I will. We'll hold that tie.
DC golf.
But speaking of Trump in tying in Bandon, Rich Levine, when we were at Mar-a-Lago with Rich, and he told a story about every time he's with the president playing golf, President Trump would be like, well, Rich, what's your favorite one of my properties? And Rich always goes, whatever one I'm with you, sir. That's kind of how I felt about Bandon. Yeah, what's your favorite course? The one whatever one I'm playing there. I think they're all great and unique. I will tell you this. I don't know that it's a trip that I go on often. It's an expensive trip. So
is.
really shout out to Jefferson. We traded golf trips on that one. Like I covered him on one trip and I definitely got the better deal on that exchange because Bandon is not cheap. I think you can go to Ireland for like 7 to 10 days for cheaper than what it costs to go to Bandon for 3.
Nick Kirsch agreeing to pay for dinner and Brad choosing breakers and then inviting me. So that's a bad decision all around. Two quick thoughts on Bandon Dunes. I think it's the best buddies trip in America. There's nowhere that has 5 World 100, World 100 courses on the same property. I think they all are. And I think that Bandon Trails for me sticks out there.
So unique.
Somewhat because it's different than the other 4, but it's an awesome golf course. I think if I went hole by hole through each of the 5, I'd probably go Bandon Trails 1, Bandon Dunes 2, Pacific Dunes 3, Old Mac 4, and I'd probably go Sheep Ranch last. But what makes it great is everybody's got a different 5. And my only other comment on Bandon Dunes is I'm worried that I was not invited by Jefferson, partially because I publicly attack everyone who sponsors the show.
I think the reason you weren't invited is because you didn't do any business with a Republican consulting firm.
That is absolutely fucking true. It did not. But I do expect more invites next year.
All right, what's next?
What is the best food you ate at a golf course in 2025?
I'll go. I'll say the member guest at Hidden Creek. And I wouldn't say that it was the best meal per se. Like there wasn't just one thing I can point to say like that was the best meal. I think it's really hard if you're a chef, and I'm not a chef and I don't know anything about it, but I think it's got to be very hard when you have a group of 100 guys and a member guest that you're cooking for to make sure that the food all comes out at the same time at a high quality. And the ability they have at Hidden Creek, the chef at Hidden Creek is just out of this world good. I mean, every meal was elite. There wasn't a breakfast that was bad. There wasn't a lunch that was bad. Just from start to finish, the food was off the charts. And Hidden Creek was going through, the weather was tough on the East Coast this year. And so the course was in a little worse shape, Rob, than it's probably been when you've played it before. But the food more than made up for it. I mean, it was worth going on that member guest just for the meals.
Well, Hidden Creek, I think it has the best Philly cheesesteak I've ever had. And a lot of people claim that Pine Valley does. And I recently had it again, and it was okay. And the Philly cheesesteak at Hidden Creek, which is a Dormy property, smokes it. And I even like it better than the 2 most famous places in Philly, Pat's and Gino's. Pat's during presidential campaigns is where the Democrats go. They're across the street from each other, and they're rival dueling cheesesteak places. So the Democrats go to Pat's, and the Republican candidates go to Gino's. And it famously was the incident in 2004 when John Kerry went to Pat's, and you're supposed to order it like either with or without, and that means onions.
Mm-hmm.
And Gino's comes with whiz, which is the melted yellow cheese,
right? And
Pat's comes with provolone. And dipshit John Kerry orders it with Swiss, and just got absolutely.
Yeah, there's a reason he lost the election.
Okay, so best food, Paisley Nine Bridges, which is in South Korea. They brought out this like personal like Korean barbecue, and the chef like cooked this like Korean barbecue meal, which was awesome. And then the honorable mentions. I mean, I feel guilty even saying these. I had a ridiculous year. Hartford Estate, the owner flies in a Michelin star chef.
And that wasn't number 1 on your list. Nice.
I just love Korean street food. Like my favorite food is like after you've been drinking all night and just eating street food at 2 a.m. That's my favorite vibe. But this was like Korean street food elevated to like Michelin level. And then the other honorable mention was Sensei Porcupine, which is Larry Ellison's private estate in Palm Springs. It's this wellness retreat. And the food is done by Nobu for every meal. For breakfast, they had breakfast bao buns. And they're these like homemade like bao buns with like scrambled eggs and bacon, and then they had this like sauce that was like artwork in like a little side dish, and it was like spicy and sweet with like scrambled eggs and bacon on a bao bun. Wow, epic! Like type of shit I make at home. That's what
yeah, exactly like that.
What's the best shot you hit in 2025?
Matt, I think I know yours, but I'm going to let you go first.
I had a little 4-iron. It worked out pretty well at Southern Hills in October with Shambu, so it was fun.
I mean, you can't beat an ace with your son in tow at Southern Hills, no less. That's epic. Mine involves you. My up and down from the bunker on 18 Gray Bowl to close it out. I know you had a rough stretch, but when I approached that bunker shot, it was washed out, and I was at the very front of the bunker with
And bunkers were a chore that day too.
the bunker. The bunker was huge, and it was probably like a 40-yard bunker shot.
Yeah.
Off a bare downhill lie with a huge lip about 15 yards in front of me. And I didn't need to get it up and down.
Well, you didn't know that at the time, though, either.
I didn't know that at the time, but I did know this thing had either Chunk City or bladed into the face of that gnarly ass bunker wall,
Yeah.
which could have turned into an X.
Mm-hmm.
And I just clipped that son of a bitch perfectly to like 12 feet, made the putt for par. And it was a great end to a long, challenging, grindy type day where like nothing was really going my way, but that was a great finish.
Awesome. What golf goals did you accomplish in 2025? And what golf goals do you have for 2026?
For goals, I started the year hitting these swipey cuts, and I got my 5-yard drawback. It took a little while to get it back. Fortunately, unfortunately, at the end of the season, of course, I started playing my best golf, and, not long after injured my wrist. So that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I got to go with winning the Golf and Politics Cup, the MG Cup, getting my 5-yard drawback, and my wedge game in between 30 and 60 yards really improved. So I think that
I feel like I kind of fell short on a lot of my goals this year. If the golf season would have ended after our trip to Austin, Rob, where I played really good at the University of Texas Club, about a 73, played great from those tees. It was a really good diff. My handicap after that round was like 1.2. So, but I'm up to 3.6 again, just kind of struggling. What's interesting is I'm hitting a lot better shots than I did last year at this time, but I'm not scoring very well. And I still have these moments where I just lose it off the tee. The good news is I was playing with 2 +6 handicaps on Saturday. And one of the +6 handicaps said, hey, you hit a lot of good shots, but I found a nervous tick that you have when there's trouble left and trouble right. You do it every time, and you end up hitting terrible shots, and you have this nervous tick. It's good to be made aware of that, and I'm going to fix that. My big goal for 2026 is twofold. Number one, actually, I got three big goals for 2026. First, let's just talk about the golf. I want to play as good on the golf course as I do on a simulator. When I go on the simulator, I'm actually like TrackMan keeps your handicap. I'm a +3. I mean, I shoot 68 to 74 just about every time, no matter how hard the course is. I get up with a lot of confidence. I hit a lot of bombs. Like I played yesterday, playing at Teeth of the Dog. That's the course I played. I hit 12 out of 14 fairways. I mean, I was just in control of my golf swing, feeling really good. I want to be able to take that same confidence that I have when I'm hitting on a simulator when I'm playing in an actual round of golf. Because I know the ability's there. I think mentally I've got to get over whatever blocks I have and whatever nervous ticks I have.
Did you like Teeth of the Dog?
On the simulator, it blew me away. So I can't imagine how great it would be in person. I really want to go play down.
If you want to go, I'm thinking about doing it in February. His buddy owns it and can get us out there. Lodging, golf, everything for gratis.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be in, especially if I can make it a quick trip with being an election year. Yeah. I mean, look, there's nothing. I mean, the simulator is just like a video, and it blew me away. I'm thinking how awesome this course must be. So,
well,
anyway,
I'm not going to go into any details, but Carl's got some making up to do. This is. We're not gonna go any further than that.
We'll just stop it there. I hear you. But no, I want to be able to just take the golf swing that I know that I have, the golf swing that Rob has seen in me, the potential that Rob has seen in me, and actually take it to the golf course. That's going to come with the next goal, which is my attitude's got to get a lot better. Part of the reason is I'm way too concerned with outcomes. And in 2026, I want to really enjoy things. I met 177 new people this year. And one of the things I want to do better this year is follow up with some of those people, fostering those relationships even further, and the more important thing of that round of golf is not whether I shoot a 72 or an 82. What's important is that I make a good friend, that if I'm hosting somebody, I'm doing a good job hosting them. The golf scores will come, but those relationships, those are what really matter. And so I want to be able to just build a stronger network with the people that I actually get to play golf with, because we're really privileged. You just randomly in this game get paired up with people that turn out to be awesome individuals. And I want to take advantage of that and build some stronger relationships.
Your game's gotten so much better. I mean, if anything, you care too much.
Yeah, I do. And you know what I told my wife the other day? It's like, just about everything that I've ever done in life, I'm not saying that I'm world class or the best in the world at it, but like everything that I've ever really put my heart, mind, and soul into and made a real concerted effort to have a goal, I've somewhat achieved, right? I mean, like I set out to be in business, and we've been a profitable business I've been in business for myself for almost 20 years, and it's been profitable the whole time. Or I decided to get involved in bodybuilding, and the first competition I ever entered, I won. When I got involved in powerlifting, I wasn't the best of the best, but I was elite for my weight classes, so, and I always accomplished the goals that I was setting out to accomplish based on the programs and the work that I put in. Golf is not like that. It's a very up and down. It's not a linear progression like weightlifting is. Weightlifting is the linear progression. I know if I do the work, I'm going to get stronger. With golf, sometimes you're going to go through some struggles, and it's hard sometimes to wrap my head around. And I feel like I've worked really hard, and I just went out and shot an 86. What on earth is going on here?
Well, I think golf has two things in common with sex. When you're having your best sex, are you really thinking about the mechanics of sex? No, you're just getting after it and you're having a good time. And the other thing it has in common is that even when it's bad, it's still better than not doing it.
That's right.
So you might as well enjoy it.
There you go.
When you're out there playing, if you've got more than one swing thought, stop.
Right.
Like one thought is enough. And just, to get that attitude up, just be grateful that you're out there. Be grateful that you're on a great course. Be grateful that you're with your friends, and have the basic understanding that nobody gives a shit what you shoot except you.
That's right there is the best advice that anybody listening to this podcast can hear. It's the advice I got to tell to myself all the time. And the truth is, the biggest person, here's the thing, nobody cares. I got to get to the point where I don't care about what I shoot myself, because it's not that I care what other people think about what I'm shooting. It's that I want to do good for myself. Like I want to check this off that I've got better. I track the progress. Just get away from that. The progress will come. Enjoy the process of hitting this ball around the most beautiful properties in the world and meeting the most incredible people. And if that's all I ever do, then life is really good. I don't have to earn a living doing this. So we're going to learn to chill out in 2026.
Writing that down. I'm time stamping this.
That's good. That's going to be the biggest part of the Parker Improvement Project. Shambu, you played more golf with me now than just about anybody. So you got to help hold me accountable. Help me be a better example to you. So, all right, Rob, 2025 was great. 2026 will be better. We're missing the Steelers game because on par for us is we've gone about 20, 30 minutes longer than we wanted to, but
that's all right.
A lot of great things to talk about.
The game's probably 3-3.
I actually just looked it up. It's 0-0. Shocker.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Golf and Politics. Thank you, Shambu, for producing the show. You're doing a great job, buddy. Appreciate you big time. And for everybody that listens, if you're not signed up for our email newsletter, please do that. Go to golfandpolitics.com. Sign up for our email newsletter today. We won't spam you, but every time a new episode comes out, we'll get it to you. And then also anywhere where you get social media content, anywhere that you get podcasts, we're there. Like us, subscribe us, share this with a friend, and we'll keep bringing you great content. Go Steelers. Have a good night, Rob.